Here's Rineman in the Morning, on demand from 102.1 and 105.3, The Shark. It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
Today is the Boston Marathon. It'll have thousands of people running with no real chance of winning, just like the primaries. There's talk President Biden may not seek re-election, but Biden promised that either way, he will absolutely continue to fall down the stairs. The U.S. is dealing with a doctor shortage. I knew we were in trouble when the guy who gave me my physical asked if I was supposed to wear the rubber glove.
And that's your news on the nines. Now on Rineman in the Morning, it's What's Up on the Shark app with Megan, the Shark's own app and website guru.
Megan, what's going on?
So we were blessed with some warm weather a couple days ago, which I enjoyed ever so much, and it inspired me to make a list of some of the best cocktails in all of New Hampshire, or should I say where you can find them, because I really love me a fruity cocktail, especially when the weather gets warm.
You love you a fruity cocktail.
Oh, yeah.
So the best cocktails in New Hampshire.
Yeah. I'm a big, you do not drink, you said, correct?
I don't drink, no.
Okay. I respect you for that. I really like sweet things, not even just alcohol, like food, drinks, anything. So anything that's like a fruit juice combined with rum or vodka it's the vibe for me. I'm in. Let's go.
So if you go to the Shark app, best cocktails in New Hampshire. And to clarify, I don't drink alcohol, but I do have a caffeine fix. But listen to this. I had my first dentist. I was not good. Don't do what I did.
What'd you do?
I got scared during the pandemic and just didn't go to the dentist for a very long time. And I went to the dentist the other day, and everyone was lined up to see how terrible my results were going to be. No cavities, despite all the caffeine. Can you know me, all the caffeine that Rineman drinks, not one cavity.
I haven't had a cavity in my life either, which is funny because I've had a slew of other dental-related issues throughout my life. Mm-hmm. I was at an orthodontist for a long freaking time, but
you can do it too, kids. No, don't do what I did. But go to the Shark app if you want to check out those wonderful New Hampshire cocktails. And to all my caffeinated pals out there, in solidarity.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
A marathon's just like the running of the bulls, but without the bulls and the morons.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
Look who's back. It's Megan, because we have a very special show today.
I'm so excited.
Ben and Jerry going to be joining me in just a little bit. So we determined that we were going to come up with an ice cream flavor for each other and explain why and what would be in that ice cream flavor. Do you want to go first?
I will go first. So I came up with, it's called the Rockin' Rineman. It is a cookie dough base because I know that's your favorite flavor.
True. Yep.
I have chocolate jimmies on top because I was going to think about doing rainbow, but then you're a cynic, so I decided to do chocolate because it takes away the life out of it.
Okay, yeah.
But then, this is something that's kind of quirky and weird. You either get it or you don't. Some crushed up nachos in there. Because, not nachos, but the chips. Because I know that you like getting nachos with Sadie when you're out and about.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Figured it combines some of the things that make you your unique self.
Rockin' Rineman.
I'm proud of myself.
Okay, well, you know what? For you, it is spooky dough.
Of course.
Cookie dough in it, but you like spooky things. But it just combines two flavors. It's got Black Forest, because scary.
Ooh.
But then on the inside, peppermint, because I find your conversations here very refreshing.
Aw, that's nice of you.
So there it is, spooky dough. My next guest co-founded a small business here in New England that has since gone on to be a bit of a global sensation, whether it's Chunky Monkey or Cherry Garcia. We all have our favorite flavors, and they're celebrating the 40th anniversary of a stunt that literally put them on the map. Welcome to Rineman in the Morning, Ben and Jerry. Gentlemen, how's it going in Vermont?
We are rocking. Beautiful day in Vermont. It's always a beautiful day in Vermont.
What flavor are you eating this morning, John?
I went with cookie dough. I know you guys.
All righty, that's a nice way to start the day.
You guys kind of came up with that, right? That was your thing. People don't know.
That was our thing, right? Just kind of like the guy who invented vanilla.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you say that, but it's I was saying to someone recently, we all take cookie dough for granted, but it's imagine if you invented cookie dough. That's amazing. Did you guys just finally say, hey, the heck with the cookies? We just want the dough. People eat when they make these things, right?
I think the credit goes to an anonymous ice cream maker working in concert with an anonymous chocolate chip cookie maker.
There you go.
they said, hey, let's throw one in the other.
This is a kind of a big weekend for you guys because 40 years ago, this past Saturday, you made news all over the globe when you built the world's biggest ice cream sundae in St. Albans, Vermont. Where did this idea come from, and how did you get everyone to go along with this?
I can remember it like it was yesterday. There was this guy, Jim Hilton, who had become the head of the recreation department for the city of St. Albans, Vermont, which is kind of a little down and out at the time. It had been a railroad town, and, the railroads weren't coming through. And he came up with this idea. He got in touch. He called me up. He said, hey, I want to make the world's largest sundae, and I said, yeah, sure, why not?
I've seen pictures of this thing, and there's one where the ice cream is taller than a church. It's like a Godzilla of ice cream. What was in it? What were all the things you put in this thing?
It was 9 tons of ice cream.
Oh my gosh.
A ton is 2,000 pounds, so that's like 18,000 pounds of ice cream. It was built inside like an outdoor above ground pool that had a special food grade liner.
Yeah.
And then we had the people stacking up these 2.5 gallon tubs that were from head to toe in these sterile jumpsuits. And what went into it, I mean, there was, gobs of cherries and gobs of walnuts and hot fudge and whipped cream and who knows what.
It was an ice cream sundae.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, ice cream Sunday through Saturday, this thing was. But, well, let me ask you guys, because, I mean, is there any point, because you're talking about people in jumpsuits and everything, between Ben and Jerry, was there a point when you were making this where one said to the other, what have we gotten ourselves into?
Yeah, I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean, you got to go for it.
We had the bucket truck to put the big cherry on the top.
That's just so unbelievable. I just want to see that. They should have that sign in Vermont, like in, road crews working. That should be like Ben and Jerry cherry placement going on. Please take your time on the road.
Well, they ought to have one of those like brass plaques at the site. This was the site of the world's largest sundae.
Dude.
Yeah, it ought to be memorialized.
They don't have anything at this site?
I've never seen it, but John, I think that you've got a big audience, and you could start a movement to get this plaque properly placed.
I'm on it. A lot of people in the past few years have said reevaluated their lives and what they were doing. And, what advice would you give to people who are thinking of starting their own small businesses, maybe right here in New England?
Do something you love, because you're going to be doing a lot of it. And you're going to be up to your ears in it.
And what should they maybe think when they get that first little bit of resistance when someone says, "Oh man, you can't do that"? What did you always tell yourself?
There's always people that doubt you. There's always people that are going to tell you that you can't do it. And if everybody listened to that, there wouldn't be anything new going on.
I was thinking of one of those little what do they call it? Aphorisms. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Check out the world's biggest ice cream sundae from St. Albans, Vermont, up on the Shark app 40 years ago. And all things Ben and Jerry, go to benandjerrys.com.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
Today is Marathon Monday. Yes, I'm going to put on Bravo and watch a marathon of Vanderpump Rules. New research shows that 10 of President Biden's great-great-grandparents are from Ireland, and Biden is somehow older than all of them. In Australia, a man was caught engaging in a lewd adult act at a bus stop. That's strange. Normally, you have to be inside the bus to get off.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, what else is going on?
York's Wild Kingdom in Maine has set their opening date, and it inspired me to ask you, when you go to the zoo, what animal are you most excited to see, or animals?
Ooh, boy. I don't know in particular, but I will say I had a fun zoo story. When I took Sadie to the zoo, most recently, we went to a zoo and there were some bears. And Sadie wanted to take a picture in front of the bears. And as we were setting up to take the picture, the baby bear got up and came up to the glass.
Oh, stop.
And yeah, it's on Instagram, my Instagram, and like posed, and we took the picture.
It knows.
And then they kind of like looked at each other, like face to face, nose to nose, and they were like, bye. and the bear just went back to sleep.
That is such an awesome
So the
story.
bears, I guess, would be my favorite. All things York Wild Animal Kingdom, available on the Shark app.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
Instead of going to the marathon, I cheer for people on the treadmill at Planet Fitness.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
We've reached that point where I wrote something for the Shark app and Megan has questions.
So I know you had a very successful interview with his name, Paul Reiser.
Yes.
And you decided to follow up on that and wrote about the best places in New Hampshire to get a hot dog.
Well, yeah, let me explain. If you go over to Ryman in the Morning on demand on the Shark app, I talked to Paul Reiser, but he had this strange observation about the hot dog rolls in New Hampshire and versus New York. And having lived in both places, I was like, oh, yeah, that is true. That is different and strange. Then I got to thinking, like, how come? And a few readers had suggestions, and one reader had, like, the scientific reason why we do it differently here. So check that out, but also check out, I think it's like the 15 best hot dog places.
Ooh.
There's one that people recommended over and over and over and over. I think it was Junkyard Dogs. I think that was the place that people recommended the most.
I don't really seek out hot dogs, so I haven't heard of that, but I'll trust the people. I'll take their word for it.
Well, you can go to 7-Eleven. That's where the hot dogs seek you out.
Oh, boy.
Arf, arf. It is strange that they sweat, though. Sweating hot dogs. Since Ben and Jerry joined me today, I asked you if they made a Ben and Jerry's flavor based on you, what would it be? Michelle up in Elliott, Maine.
Whoopie pie.
Whoopie pie?
It's a childhood thing. I love whoopie pie.
Yeah. Do you ever do the old whoopie cushion trick?
No, I've never done the whoopie cushion trick, but I know it.
I did it once and my dad broke it, so the joke was on me. But Amy in Somersworth. Friendly. So just be friendly ice cream.
Yes.
That'd be the name of it. But it'd be tricky, though, right? Because the people would be like, is it friendly ice cream or Friendly's ice cream? And then there might be some confusion. Brad and Dover, what would your Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavor be?
It's got to be something sexy. So, Sexy Papa.
Sexy Papa.
And it would be Sexy Papa.
Yeah.
And it would be definitely vanilla ice cream, M&Ms, and gummy worms. Yeah.
I love it. Sexy Papa. That's the one right there, Brad. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
That's fantastic.
And by the way, I really love your show. It's a breath of fresh air with all the other stuff that's on the radio.
You're gonna make me cry in my big bowl of Sexy Papa. Thanks, Brad.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has suggested building a federal prison next to Disney World, or as kids call that, Epcot. Congratulations to Boston Marathon runner Helen Obiri, who won a gold in just her second race. What's your secret? Said Hillary Clinton. This week, Daffy Duck turned 85. When asked what he wished for, he said, a cure for my despicable prostate.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, what's going on?
I didn't know this, but it turns out the world's longest mini golf hole is right here in New Hampshire.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't know that until, well, this is a little bit of a dated situation, but I went mini golfing last year. And
I love the build-up for that.
Yeah,
You're like, this is going to be very complicated for you, but I went mini golfing.
Well,
That's
I'm
how
not
I know
going to
about
say
the
I
mini
went
golf.
mini golfing this year because I don't even know if half the mini golf courses are even open right now.
Soon.
But beside the point, you can go mini golfing at the world's longest mini golf hole, and I did play at that very golf course.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
I don't remember if I won, but I did a decent job.
I love the way. I don't remember if I won.
I did it. Oh, what? You think that?
I just wonder if, like, when Tiger Woods comes home, when he doesn't win a tournament, how'd it go? I forget. I know it was on TV.
I can't recall.
Yeah.
You strike me as the kind of person where if you win a game of mini golf, you're going to be rubbing it in your opponent's faces for years to come.
Years to come? No, I take care of it in the moment. I do it till all the kids cry. And then I go, all right, you learned your lesson.
Oh, so you feel pride. You get an ego boost for making children cry, are we? We talking about this on
Well, sometimes they make me cry. So, we even things out.
I cry internally every day.
On that note, go to the Shark app. I don't know how we got from mini golf to therapy, but go to the Shark app. Find out about the world's longest mini golf hole, correct? Right here in New Hampshire.
That is correct.
On the Shark app. Hey, let's see how the Bruins did last night.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
Rough night for the Florida Panthers. I've seen harder punches at a Florida Waffle House.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, what else is going on?
So this is just the day of New Hampshire fun facts, but it turns out that everyone's favorite snack, chicken tenders, were invented in New Hampshire at a New Hampshire restaurant.
Get out of here. That's not true.
I'm being serious. I never
Chicken tenders. Someone invented chicken tenders here?
Well, they had to start somewhere, so I'd say they were indeed invented.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and I got the scoop on the Shark app about what restaurant it is.
Wow.
It's not a restaurant I've ever been to, but if I ever go, I have to have chicken tenders.
And the restaurant still exists?
It does. It's the birthplace of the chicken tendy.
You know, that's so amazing because when Ben and Jerry were on yesterday, they were talking about they created cookie dough. Did you know that? Isn't that insane?
They created
They created that ice cream.
The OG cookie dough?
Yes.
You got to have some of the cookie dough. You love cookie dough as an ice cream flavor.
They built the big ice cream sundae that was like a big PR stunt, and then they came up with cookie dough. And those were their two. But the cookie dough is the thing that really broke through for them. Isn't that insane to think about? Because when I hear chicken tenders, I'm like, oh, you mean the thing's been around a billion years. But gosh, right here in New Hampshire, do they still serve the chicken tenders?
They do.
Do you think there's any left over from the first batch, and every now and then they just kind of slide it into a meal, see what happens?
They'd probably get sued for that.
But
someone would probably die, and then there'd be a lawsuit.
Hear me out. You video it, you send it into Carlton Banks over there at America's Funniest Home Videos, and then you win, and you make back the money.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
Evan Chebet of Kenya won the Boston Marathon at a time of 2 hours and 5 minutes. He then rode the T to his hotel down the street, which took 9 hours and 5 minutes. The favorite, Iliad Kapoge, only managed to finish 6th in the marathon. Sid Kapoge, I guess I shouldn't have made that stop at Wahlburgers. Boston Bruins legend Zdeno Chara completed his first Boston Marathon, though it was awkward when he forgot to duck and got stuck beneath an overpass on Storrow Drive.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
I was so honored yesterday. Ben and Jerry were on the show, but we talked so much that we kept talking even after we went off the air during the commercials and everything. And one thing I brought up was advice they might have for people looking to follow in their footsteps. They had some great things to say, so I'm going to play it for you right now. Here's Ben and Jerry. A lot of people in the past few years have said reevaluated their lives and what they were doing. And, you know, what advice would you give to people who are thinking of starting their own small businesses, maybe right here in New England?
Do something you love because you're going to be doing a lot of it. And you're going to be up to your ears in it.
And what should they maybe think when they get that first little bit of resistance when someone says, "Oh man, you can't do that"? What did you always tell yourself?
There's always people that doubt you. There's always people that are going to tell you that you can't do it. And you know, if everybody listened to that, there wouldn't be anything new going on.
I was thinking of one of those little what do they call it? Aphorisms. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Again, that was Ben and Jerry, and the advice was whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So something to think about. You get to choose the path sometimes. So good luck to those of you starting a small business. And you know what? I think you can.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
Ohtani only pitches 2 innings for the Angels, or as Chris Sale calls that, overachieving.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
Well, Megan almost forgot to swing by. Thanks for showing up, Megan.
Sorry.
We're at the point of the show that I guess even though we've been doing this since September, where I wrote something for the Shark app, and I thought you had questions about it, and you just walked in.
I guess I have a question. Well, what I want to know is, you wrote about the whale wall in Portsmouth. May she rest in peace. She had a magnificent
How do you know
run.
it's a she?
I'm assuming it's gender. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but so you got some details on what exactly happened to it and why it wasn't brought back to life instead of demolished.
Yeah, there's this group that let me join on Facebook, and thank you very much to them. And it's a really fun group to follow, and you can read about it in the Shark app. It's a lot of fun, like kind of historical and behind the scenes, Portsmouth stuff. And I had that experience. I went to downtown Portsmouth, and I parked in that parking lot, and I was like, yeah, by the whale wall. And then I was like, wait, I didn't see any whales. There was no whale watching going on today. And there was this big discussion where some people say the city of Portsmouth didn't take proper care of it. And then it was all part of the city becoming commercialized and everything. And then someone else came in who was a town official and was like, well, hold on a second. We did try. And there's not blame per se, but there's like, we reached out to the artist and didn't quite hear back. So there's some details in there where I kind of was like, oh, I can't believe they took it down. The man. And then the man was like, hey, don't blame us. So go to the Shark app, read all about it. But also I asked people, where'd you want to see a new one? So we'll see.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
Fox News has to pay $787 million for reporting false information. Or as Fox reported it, no we don't. Fans at the Coachella Music Festival say Frank Ocean gave the worst concert ever. But they didn't hear the foxes getting busy in my recycling bin last night. Happy birthday to Conan O'Brien, who turned 60 years old. As always, he celebrated with a 12-pack of sunscreen.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
Classic hits for the Seacoast. 102.1, 105.3 The Shark. My guest this morning is touring to promote her new album, Shadows. And we are so lucky to have her coming right here to Portsmouth in the Music Hall Lounge tomorrow evening. Please welcome to Rineman in the Morning, the one and only Tiffany. Tiffany, how's it going?
It is going well. Thank you.
We're so excited you're coming to the Music Hall Lounge in downtown Portsmouth. Have you ever been to Portsmouth, New Hampshire before?
I think I have before. It's been a while, but I'm so excited to be back, and we're going to have a blast. I'm bringing the funnest show, little retro, little rock and roll, and a little black light, guys. We're going to glow. Come glow with me.
Oh,
have fun. So.
That's amazing. So it's going to be like a light show and music too, right?
It is. It is. So we're making you work on this one and get involved and have some fun. So it's something I've never done before. So it's a lot of fun.
Tell me about the album. Tell me about the new music you've been making that you're going to be performing in this crazy light show at the Music Hall Lounge.
Well, the new music is a little more rock and roll, you know. I mean, I've been turning in that direction for quite some time. So if you're a true Tim fam, you know. But if you're not, then, you know, this is just a natural progression for me. I've been doing this since 2000, songwriting, and really working as an artist to get, you know, people to understand that I'm a live artist. I'm a lifer. I come from country music, worked my way up through, you know, LA and got lucky, of course, to have a record deal at 14. And I love all of that. I love the retro stuff. I'm very grateful. I would never shy away from that. So those songs, I Think We're Alone Now, I Saw Him Standing There, Could Have Been, all the time. They're in all the dish shows. They're never going to leave. But as an adult, of course, I've grown up. And what seems natural for me and what my roots are is a little bit more rock and roll. Of course, I'm an LA girl. I'm an 80s girl.
Yeah.
So showing that rock side, and I think this album, Shadows, really does have, you know, modern production with a little bit of a wink back to 80s rock and roll, little punk side, little go-go's, little Blondie, little Ramones, all of those things that make me who I am as a musician, but also as a music lover.
For all things Tiffany, go to tiffanytunes.com.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
Why isn't there a draft Queens?
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, what's going on?
I'm super excited because the New Hampshire Poutine Fest has announced
The what? The what now?
There's a New Hampshire Poutine Fest.
Poutine. Okay, good. Yes, continue.
I love poutine so freaking much. But they are returning this October, and they've announced their official date for the year. They've been doing this for several years now, and it's literally just a bunch of restaurants presenting their own takes on the delicious dish, poutine.
Wow.
And you get to try a ton of that.
Big Canadian dish, the poutine.
Yes. Actually, fun fact, the very first time I ever tried it was actually in Montreal. So,
oh, really? You did it authentic?
Yeah. Well, if you want the truth, this was back in high school. I'd literally never heard of it until I was in a restaurant on a school trip, and my friends were like, oh, we're getting poutine. And I was like, what the heck is that? And they're like, French fries and gravy and cheese.
Yeah.
And I said, how can I possibly say no? So then I got some, and it changed my life. But,
here's how my experience was. I think I was in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I was there doing stand-up.
Interesting.
At the House Comedy in Edmonton, and they had like a poutine donut at Tim Hortons. How much more Canadian can you get than trying poutine for the first time at Tim Hortons?
But you said a donut?
Yeah. I got to be honest, not amazing.
That's where I'm like, you lost me at donut because now I'm trying to visualize this, and I
I almost lost the donut too, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't think I finished it. Yeah. And they gave me a look like we're sorry when they sold it to me. I'm pretty sure it was like a one-time, like, you know, they try things out at Dunkin's and things like that, and it's usually it's fantastic when Dunkin's does it. I'm sad when it goes away. With the Tim Hortons, they were like, "Oh, we're sorry." Sorry about that.
Sorry.
You're going to take a chance on the poutine nut, eh? All right, it's New Hampshire Poutine Festival, correct?
Yeah, it's this fall, hint.
Check it out on the Shark app.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
Today is National Banana Day and National Hanging Out Day, and you can celebrate both if you're wearing bicycle shorts. Southwest was forced to ground all of its planes due to a technical glitch, as in, technically, the planes did not have wings. A new report says that Americans with a negative view of the economy is at 69%, which makes sense because on my tax return, I got totally screwed.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, what else is going on?
So apparently there is a hidden hotel and secret sky deck above TD Garden in Boston.
What?
Yeah, but that got me thinking how...
Hidden hotel?
The building that is TD is so insanely huge.
The building that is TD.
That is TD.
So, like, when they rename the building, you know, every couple of years the naming's
exactly.
right. That's your pitch.
Exactly.
The building that is TD.
TD.
The artist formerly known as Prince once played the building that is TD.
But this reminds me of... So over the weekend, I went to...
Yeah, let's talk about what you did over the weekend. Tell everyone you went to a rave, but it wasn't just any rave.
It was a Shrek-themed rave.
Let me tell you something, Megan. I saw that, and any hope I had of us being like friends beyond the studio, I said no. I felt too tired just looking at your videos from that rave, and I felt it's the oldest I've ever felt in my life.
I need to clarify a few things first. It was called a quote-unquote rave, but it was honestly more just like going out to a club and the DJ was playing EDM.
Megan,
there were no drugs that I was aware of. I don't think they were allowed in the venue. But
that's the difference. The fact that you were like, it wasn't that loud. I watched this thing and I had to take Advil from watching your video.
That's fair. I mean, for what it's worth, I literally am never up until the AM. Like, I've told people all the time I feel like a 30, 40-something-year-old.
Why?
Because I'm never up late. Like, I'm usually like 9:30. I'm tired. So, like, being up until the AM is like, once in a blue moon, I'll do it. It's extremely unusual. But this all circles back to Big Night Live, where the venue was. It was at TD Garden. Like, it was, and I didn't know that because I don't go to Boston on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So then seeing this come up about how there's also a hotel above TD Garden, I'm just like, what else is in that building? The building that is TD Garden. What else is in there that I don't know of? I need to just wander around. Yeah.
Wow. So the secret hotel above the TD Garden. Go check it out on the Shark app.
You can go to a Shrek rave, and then you can see a basketball game, and then if you're filthy rich, you can stay in a hotel too.
Sounds good. Speaking of the Garden, let's check in on that Celtics playoff series.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
Eggs might be expensive, but the Atlanta Hawks are about to lay one.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
We've reached that point where I wrote something for the Shark app, and Megan has questions.
So I know that you have been so insanely excited for the Frasier reboot set in Boston. And you wrote about some New England-themed episode ideas, and that made me so happy for you because I just know how much fun you had writing it. Like, I just know you did. So I want to give you the chance to talk about it.
So Frasier's coming back. It's going to be on Paramount Plus. And I was just like, I'm going to shoot my shot. It's before the writer's strike. I'm a member of the Guild, so didn't violate anything. I did it before that happened. And I just pitched some episodes. Like, for instance, he meets Stephen King, and then he reads a Stephen King book 6 months later, and he thinks that one of the characters is based on him, Frasier, you know? He meets one of the Wahlbergs, but he doesn't know which one, doesn't know if to say it's Mark or Donnie. Yeah, I just love Frasier. It's the perfect before-bed show to watch. But you've never seen it, though, right, Megan? You got to check it out. It's a great show, and it's back in Boston. Boston representation. I've never seen Megan less interactive in a conversation. She's never had, her eyes have rolled out of the studio. Forget back in her head. They are down the hallway.
I wanted to give you...
As a 40-year-old man talks about Frasier. I've never seen someone less interested.
I'm tired, Rineman. I know it's a bull excuse, but...
Anyway, check out my Frasier ideas on the Shark app. It's classic hits for the Seacoast. 102.1, 105.3 The Shark. Be right back with more Rineman in the Morning. I hope you're listening.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
Rapper Snoop Dogg says the highest he's ever gotten was when he smoked with Willie Nelson. And he must have been high, because that was actually Dolly Parton. The National Park Service is urging people to stop licking frogs to get high. And you should listen, because lizards is where it's at. Actor Sylvester Stallone said he was on speed when he shot one of the Rambo movies. People could tell Stallone was on speed when they could actually understand what he was saying.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, what's going on?
God bless whoever did this, but someone compiled a list of images of 25 incredibly horrible parking jobs.
I saw that.
In Maine and Mass. Okay,
Yeah.
They are unbelievable because you got people just straight up ignoring the lines, parking on curbs, parking in the, is it the shop? I always mix up this word, the shopping corral.
The corral.
Parking in the shopping corral. And I'm just like, okay, I'm by no means like a perfect behind the wheel. Like I've ridden up on curbs, I've done things like that. But you've never caught me parking in a shopping corral, like in broad daylight. I don't know.
No, I get some grief here sometimes. You can tell when Ryman's been running late when his car's parked in a different spot right by the door.
That's what I've wondered that.
Yeah. But hey, whatever it takes to make it here on time. But I will say that my thing is I've noticed that I'm parking more to the right in my parking spot I don't know if my equilibrium is off or whatever, but a couple times I get out and I go, that's not enough room for the person on my right.
Maybe Mercury's in retrograde, and that's why.
I heard Mercury was in Gatorade, so we never know.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
Patrice Bergeron out for the Bruins. Tom Bergeron hosts Dancing with the Stars.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, how you doing over there? Everything feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
No part of you is hurting more than any other parts?
Okay, so for context, off air,
You said a dirty word.
I made a remark about how my caboose is in pain because I went to the gym. That's all. There's Bulgarian split squats will destroy you.
Just a second before we were going on air.
They'll destroy you. They're great for you, but they will destroy you.
What are they called again?
They're called Bulgarian split squats.
Bulgarian split squats. Sounds like an XFL team.
Do you know what they are?
No, but I understand they make your caboose hurt.
It's basically you stand up and there's like a bench behind you or something, and you lift up one of your legs and you prop it on the bench.
Speaking of lifting
and with your
legs,
other leg, you have weights in both your arms, and so it's basically you squat using just one leg.
Speaking of lifting your leg and squatting, that brings us to this story that we're going to talk about.
Okay,
segue, son.
So first off, I just want to say, my hat's off to any and everyone who ran the Boston Marathon.
Hats off and pants off.
Well, getting to that. So there's a viral video going around. It looks like a porch cam video of a marathon runner who was doing her thing when nature calls.
Yeah.
And so she goes into this random person's yard.
I thought it was a dude.
I thought it was a girl.
Oh my God! Well, go to the Shark app.
A person.
Find out. A person.
It was a person.
Hey, it's 2023. An individual.
It's true. An
individual decided to
nature called,
relieve themselves.
We're not talking number one though. We're talking number two action right in someone's yard. And honestly, you do what you must. I don't know what more to say.
What?
I don't know what to say.
In a person, you do what you must. So the homeowner goes to the city hall and says, I can't believe this person. And they go, yes, but it says right here in the town ordinance, you do what you must.
Okay, but if it was an emergency and there was nowhere else, what do you do in that city? If that were you, what would you do? I
would quit the marathon right there.
After all that training.
Yes.
After all that dedication.
I'm not going to say his name, but a friend of mine from Winnicott High School, everyone's going to know who I'm talking about. Went to high school with me. He was the best runner. That's all I'm going to say. And from Northampton, a year ahead of me. Right now, everyone knows. One time, won a race at Dairyfield Park in Manchester. He miles ahead of everybody and just kept on running after he crossed the finish line.
Insane.
And we were all like, what's going on? I almost said his name. What's going on? Where is he going? And he just ran across the street into Trinity High. Just kept on running like Forrest Gump. And it was because he made it there just in the nick of time. Just in the nick of time. And there might have been a trickle. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, my gosh. What?
Ryan Shank said he saw a trickle.
What blows my mind about the marathon in general is I've seen a lot of viral videos going around of like, people will pull out their phones as they're crossing the finish line. They're like, woo, they're all happy. And I'm just like, if that were me, I wouldn't be able to speak. I know. So like, I'd be gassed.
I know. That's something weird.
And you'd literally think they took like a little stroll. Like you would not think they just ran like 20, however many miles it is. You people are crazy in the best possible way. It blew my mind.
Well, anyway, see this person take a stroll and something more on the Shark app. Oh, Megan almost did her first spit
out
take.
My coffee.
She almost did it.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
ESPN will lay off 7,000 employees. Or as they put it, breaking news. You are now free agents. Ron DeSantis has seen his poll numbers drop since feuding with Disney. Even worse, Disney charged him $50 for a photo of his reaction as he dropped. Several news outlets are accused of using artificial intelligence to make up stories. That is so bad. So bad is that. Here is the joke part of this human joke that is definitely human right now. Ha ha. Laugh, please. Hee hee.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
We've reached that point where I wrote something for the Shark app, and Megan has questions.
You talked to Ben and Jerry.
I did.
What I want to know is, am I getting some ice cream?
We're supposed to.
What kind of ice cream?
I heard we might have some for the listeners as well, or gift cards at least. Well, that would be weird. That would be difficult to do. Your ice cream is in the mail.
I want them to make an original ice cream flavor.
Yeah.
Just for me, I would like strawberry ice cream.
We already did this, Megan.
I know, but I want to make my own.
What is going
flavor.
on here? You're repeating bits. You're talking about your butt. Like, come on. Are you on April vacation here?
TGI Thursday.
It is 420.
Blaze it.
Anyway, 420, circling back to Ben and Jerry.
Oh,
see what I did there?
Birthday.
See what I did there?
I just got really distracted.
There's a joke I could make. History. Not going to do it. But what happened with Ben and Jerry?
What happened with Ben and Jerry is that you interviewed them.
Yes.
And now I want ice cream. That's all I got.
That's it?
That's all I got to say.
You didn't talk about anything I wrote for the Shark app, though. This is a total scam.
Okay, okay. You did circle it back to places in New England that are the best places to start businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 12 best cities in New England to start a small business.
Are they more rural areas? Are they more metro areas?
It's a mix. It's actually an interesting mix, as some may call it, and but also they had some advice. There was one thing that I believe it was Jerry said, and you have to read it in the article on the Shark app, but it was a very poignant but scary quote, but real. And it's like, if you're looking to try something new in life, it's like, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a new mantra. The listeners know what it is, Megan. You got to go check it out on the Shark app.
Ooh, I'll be back.
Thanks, Arnold.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
One of the Red Sox said a swear word on TV. Thank God no one was watching.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
Today is April 20th, a.k.a. 420, so just for no reason whatsoever, I sent out a message on the Shark app asking you, where did you used to hide things from your parents when you were a kid? Where did you hide stuff, let's call it away, when you didn't want your parents to find it? I heard from Sandy in Rochester. Sandy said, I never had anything at home. I always kept it in my backpack or on my person because I didn't trust my mom not to find it. LOL. She said LOL, but I'm laughing at the phrase on my person. I love that. Sandy, did you just hire a butler to walk around with you at school? Jeeves, put this in your pocket. But you can't come home with me. You're my person that I hired. I put my stuff on you. And other listeners had interesting places to share when I asked, where did you used to hide things from your parents when you were a kid? Cassie from Salisbury.
I would probably hide it under my mattress.
Anna from Dover.
Probably just under the bed.
Under the bed. That seems to be the popular answer. Jeff from Exeter.
Then that would be in the basement behind like all the old Christmas boxes or something that would be months and months away.
But what happened when it was Christmas time?
I'd move it.
There you go. Amy in Somersworth.
We had a grate in the floor. We had an old colonial in our bedroom, and I had that placed there, and I used to hide it in the grate because there was a rug over it, and they never found anything in there. It was awesome.
That's amazing. Where did you grow up?
In Seabrook.
Everyone living in Seabrook, check your grates. You never know what might be in there. It's Rineman. Who am I talking to?
Yep, my name is Jeff. I'm calling from Durham.
Jeff from Durham.
Dover. Sorry. No, Dover.
I think Jeff may have been celebrating 420 just a little too hard, but I don't know. I might just be paranoid.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
A Southwest Airlines passenger had a mid-air meltdown because a baby wouldn't stop crying. I find that shocking. A Southwest flight took off? One of Elon Musk's rockets exploded minutes after its launch. On the bright side, it's nice to hear about a billionaire only lasting a few minutes without having to pay anyone hush money. One of Donald Trump's lawyers is named Joe Tacopina. Incidentally, a Tacopina is what Stormy said Trump has.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
I have a very special guest here with me to talk about the Walk for Sight. His name is Randy Pierce. Randy, welcome to Rineman in the Morning.
Oh, welcome to you and to everybody else. Good to be here.
You're here with your guide dog, Swirl.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be here without him. I'd be in the wrong place.
I called him Squirrel by mistake earlier. I think he's still a little upset with me.
Well, I think he believed you. He was like, oh, look, a squirrel. Where?
I know. I said the wrong word. Randy's here to talk about the Walk for Sight. So tell me about this wonderful event and why it's so important to you.
Sure. Our organization is Future Insight. We were formerly the New Hampshire Association for the Blind. And for 112 years, we've been serving people of all ages, all levels of sight loss, low vision to no vision, and trying to help them get the training, the tools, some of the resources they need to succeed, to live and thrive their best lives. And this is our signature event, our biggest fundraiser, but it's also an awareness event. Starts right in the Capitol building in Concord. And why it's so important to me is because 33 years ago, I came to this organization when at 22, I lost my sight very dramatically, very suddenly and unexpectedly. And I felt helpless and hopeless. Lots of people do.
Yeah.
And with the services we provide, we transform lives. So much so that right 33 years later, they've asked me to come back and be the leader of the organization, not because I'm blind, but because I developed the skills to live and thrive my best life.
That's so amazing. And just real quick, the date. Can you remind me the date of
Sure, it's May 20th. It's going to start at 10 o'clock. We recommend people get there at 9:30. We've got a couple of fun things. There's a blind actress here in New Hampshire who's going to be our grand marshal, but we'll have a lot of events to make it special.
If people aren't able to go, how are some ways they can help or donate to the cause?
You know, the number one thing we want is awareness of it. That's why, the Walk for Sight is an awareness event. But come to our website. You can donate to the walkers. You can donate to our organization because we are publicly funded largely to be able to do the charitable work we do.
But I got to talk to you about this. Not only are you a double black belt, Randy, you climbed to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. And I don't mean like in the Monty Python sketch. You actually did this. When did you do Mount Kilimanjaro?
So 2015.
That's unbelievable. And you must have so many stories. But like, what's the craziest thing that happened to you on Mount Kilimanjaro?
On Mount Kilimanjaro? So it's the challenge there, because the White Mountains teach you how to hike anything here. But on Mount Kilimanjaro, the oxygen is thin. You're at 19,300 feet. And they tell you it's one breath per step. Now, I usually hike with my guide dogs, but not at that elevation because we don't know how to watch for the signs of elevation sickness. But we're up on the summit, and I use human guides, and we get ready to leave. And I say, who's ready to guide me? There's no answer, no response. I'm like, who's ready to try? No response. Who can hear me? Oh, yeah, no, we can hear you. They couldn't breathe. They couldn't talk. Oh. Nobody thought they could do it. The trick about a mountain is up is optional, down is mandatory. So yeah. How do we make that happen? And we worked through it, obviously, because here I am, not stuck on Kilimanjaro.
Instead, you're getting ready for the 20th annual Walk for Sight up in Concord on May 20th. Go to futureinsight.org for more details.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
All these real-life sports games are really messing with my Ted Lasso viewing.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, what's going on?
So there are so many things to do in New Hampshire, as we all know, but a lot of these things are more hidden gems. They're more off the beaten path. And so I decided to go on the hunt and find out what some of those things are. And so I compiled a list of things.
Is that why you were late coming in the other day for my segment?
Yeah.
I talked about my thing?
I was up in the mountains looking for the sites.
Got it. What'd you find?
There were a bunch of things that locals recommended. Some of them are not quote unquote hidden gems. They're like very well known. But other things I hadn't
Water country.
Beach. Water country was not recommended, but Santa's Village was.
Yeah, everyone knows Santa's Village.
I've never actually been to Santa's Village.
You gotta go.
I went to Storyland one time.
Santa's Village, they put their schedule out. It was very exciting.
It was. I'm pretty sure we talked about it.
Yeah.
You made fun of me.
I did.
When don't you make fun of me, though?
On Monday, Santa will talk to kids. But then on Tuesday, the kids will talk to Santa. So this is on the Shark app. It's New Hampshire's Hidden gems. Things we may not know about. Megan's not talking. All right, fine.
No, I have nothing to say to you. I have nothing to say to you after dissing Santa.
I didn't diss Santa.
You made fun of Santa.
I did. He's my birthday twin. I get to do that. March 15th. Look it up.
It's time for your news on the nines with News Guy.
BuzzFeed laid off all of its news reporters, and it is rumored that Vice News will do the same. Yikes. Good thing I agreed to be paid only in cough syrup. President Biden hosted the president of Colombia to talk about drug trade, at which point Hunter Biden said, I'm just going to go for a quick jog. The Oakland Athletics are moving to Las Vegas, and once they're in Vegas, they'll go from being the A's to the double D's.
And that's your news on the nines. Now back to Rineman in the Morning.
Megan, what else is going on?
This may be one of the stranger things I've asked you, but have you ever been in the bathroom at the Portsmouth Music Hall?
I have, and it is spectacular. It is perhaps the best bathroom I've ever been in my life, and I think they should actually do concerts inside the bathroom.
I don't know how you'd know this, but do you know if the men's bathroom bears any resemblance to the women's bathroom that literally feels like you're stepping into like an enchanted forest?
Well, I've not yet reached my Mrs. Doubtfire stage with my daughter. But were that to happen, I wouldn't know. You got to go to the Shark app. You got to read about it because it's summed up perfectly about like what's in this thing. Our colleague did a great job talking about it, and I don't want to spoil it any further. But
it's positively medieval, you might say.
I don't want to go back to the show. Like, I could be seeing Paul McCartney there, and I'd go, I'm good in the bathroom. It's great. I'll stay here with Ringo. I'm sorry.
It's seriously...
Can you tell it's been a week, Megan? Can you tell if Ryan's had a bit of a week?
There's like I have like one single brain cell.
Take that, Ringo.
And this brain cell is working so incredibly hard.
I know.
And I don't give it enough credit for all the hard work it does, but it feels almost like a hamster running on the wheel. It's just like one single solitary brain cell just by itself.
And also, we're on the radio right now discussing a men's room.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or women's room.
You know what you said the other day? Mercury's and Gatorade.
Of course.
Yep.
And now, here's Sports in 10 Seconds with the Sportsman.
Every bet is a prop bet if you're Carrot Top.
That's your Sports in 10 Seconds with Sportsman on Rineman in the Morning.
I wrote something for the Shark app, and you have questions?
You were really hyping this one up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give you the chance to tell everyone the legend of the Boston Garden Monkey.
Okay, so this is on the Shark app right now.
Cousin of the devil monkey of Danville, New Hampshire.
It might be. It might be. And ESPN did a great mini doc on it a few years ago that I felt went sorely under the radar and underappreciated, and I thought should be revisited. Lenny Clark was the narrator and the host of it. There was a rumor when I was a kid, I think I was in high school, that there was a monkey that had been living in the rafters of the old Boston Garden. We heard different versions. We heard that, he'd be spotted, during games, or he'd be spotted at nighttime when they'd be cleaning things out. And then there was another rumor that, the construction workers, they were chased by the Boston Garden monkey when they were trying to demolish it, make room for the Fleet Center. It was just this fun urban legend, and then it went away for a while, and then it came back in a big way. And you can read about it on the Shark app. It takes a turn. I'm not spoiling it, because right now you're thinking, it's a Harry and the Hendersons thing. It's going to be real. Yes. Then the story gets weird. And I just kind of put in Lenny's documentary that he made with ESPN, and I linked to it, and I said, hey, you can check it out if you want. But if you're living in the rafters from the 1930s, which is when this urban legend began, think of all the stuff. Because monkeys can live to be like 50 or 60. Think of all the amazing events.
The concerts, the games.
President Kennedy giving a speech. And that's the angle I took on it.
Elvis Presley.
So it's a fun story. And if you like monkeys and you like fun, Bruins and the Celtics playing every night, well, hey, if you have some downtime, go read about the Boston Garden Monkey. A real thing. It's on the Shark app. It's also the weekend. Let's go to the movies.
I'm Charlie Butters, and it's time for your Friday Flix. Out today is Evil Dead Rise, where a family reunion descends into a zombie apocalypse. Or as most people call that, Thanksgiving. Also in theaters is Somewhere in Queens, which tells the story of a high school basketball prodigy. It stars Ray Romano, who is voiced by Kermit the Frog. Out on Amazon Prime is Judy Bloom Forever, about the author who wrote children's books like Super Fudge. But the only Super Fudge I've had lately was in those brownies on 420. I'm Charlie Butters, and remember to keep an eye on the screen and a hand in the popcorn.
Arf, arf.